It is release day for Pinkfresh Studio. It is the May release and I've got the whole shebang here in my hands, and we are going to have a quick run through and then we're going to make a little something. So I'm gonna try to skip right to it rather than jibber jabber on like I normally do. So first off, we have a standalone die cut. This is a single stitched rectangles. So they are the nested ones. So if you prefer the single stitch rather than like the double stitched, or there's one with like a diagonal stitch as well, this is one for you. And then there is a dotted postage square as well. I do think, I can't remember what was in the last month's release or the month before, but there is somewhere along the line there was a rectangle as well, I think, of these. So that's that. And then we are gonna go straight into our stamp and die sets and all of that. So this one is called Guiding Light, and it is a lighthouse. So it's got a stamp set. It also has a press plate, die cuts, and layering stencils. So it creates this little image here if you want to do like all of the layering stencils. If you want to color, obviously, you go ahead and color. And then we have Garden Medley. So this one is actually a red rubber stamp. There's the thick one, and oh, look at that, so pretty. And it comes with a press plate, a die cut, and also a layering stencils. So yes, beautiful. Oof, that one is kind of screaming my name. Then we have a stamp set called Sunshine and Smiles, and it's got sentiments like wishing you a birthday filled with sunshine and smiles, soak up the sunshine, your kindness is sunshine for the soul, and here's to a bright and beautiful season. Celebrate with sunshine and good vibes. That is kind of perfect because it's May is my birthday month and the sun is finally here. Yes. So it comes with a coordinating die cuts as well, which I love. Ooh, so good. Then we have a cute little set. So this is die cuts and layering stencils, and it creates this fun little image here. How cute is that? Oh, yeah. Okay, now this one kind of has my name all over it as well, but we're gonna go through all of it. So we have Petal Perfection, and it is a die set with a layering stencils. So you can either, just use the die cuts as they are with, color them with Copics or watercolors or whatever medium you have, or use colored cardstock, or if you prefer ink blending, get the layering stencils. So there's options there for sure. We also have the Timeless Tulips. This is beautiful. Oh, I do love tulips. So it comes with there's a stamp set, there is a press plate, there is a die cut, and also a layering stencils. So quick and easy work to add those pops of color. Now the last set is called A Keepsake of the Heart. It has 3 little sprigs and some beautiful sentiments, and it has a stamp set, it has a press plate, and then it has layering stencils to create like little glass bottles, and those actually have die cuts as well. So both the sprigs, the sentiments, and the bottles all have die cuts. So the only thing that doesn't have like an outline is the actual bottles, and I guess that's to give it kind of like a classy look. But that is the release of like stamps and die cuts and all of that. But then we also have precision glue. So this is a 2-ounce bottle, and then this is the little half fluid ounce bottle. So whether you prefer like a big one or a little one for precision, I guess, that is again a choice. Do you like a small one, easy to hold, or a big one? And also if you glue a lot, it's probably better to go with a big one. Just say. But now we are going to grab some color, some inspiration, and we are going to make something. Perhaps slightly unexpectedly, I decided to use the Petal Perfections suite because it's just so fun and it's gorgeous and it's lovely. So, I had to use it, okay? As soon as I saw it, I knew I was going to use it for at least one project. So, might as well get that out of the way, right? So I'm going to be using my grippy mat from my stamp wheel, and I have got some white cardstock, and I'm just going to stick down the stencil here. And then I'm going to be using one of my favorite combos for flowers. So we're going to have some sparkling rose and some bubble gum for some pink pops, and then we're going to add some green for our greenery. But first, essentially, I'm going to go in with a little bit of sparkling rose here to just kind of get like a soft pinkish view look. And then we're going to go in with a little bit of bubblegum to add some details. Now I am using some of my old blending brushes here just because I have them, and it kind of seems silly to not use them if I have them. But what I should have done with here, or like with this one with a darker pink, is that I should have gone in with one of the small like 1/2 inch blending brushes for adding some details. I mean, not so much maybe on this one, but on the second layer for sure, because I do feel like they kind of just like blended in a little bit too much into each other. So for a little bit of more definition between the kind of like layers, I should have added the little or I should have used a little blending tool really for like the details. Now with these stencils, I feel like you need to mask off a little bit, and there is, you know, it's perfect to use the first stencil for that masking bit. And then we're gonna peel and reveal, and oh, isn't that a pink deliciousness? So gorgeous. And then for our greens, we are going to use limoncello and olive. But first, I did a little boo-boo here. I didn't look for the ups and downs. I just kind of look for the little markings at the top to sort of, you know, where you fit your cardstock in, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. It's because it wasn't. I was completely wrong. It was upside down. So, you know, it does help when you put things the right way up. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do them upside down, make sure you do all of them upside down, because then it makes sense. But, you know, if you start out by putting one the right way up, then you do have to kind of carry on that trend. Yeah. So, you know. Now for our details here, again, I should have gone in with a smaller blending brush to, you know, really get those like details in there, but I didn't for this one. And I think it shows. So on the second layer, I will show you what I mean. But I mean, this is already looking kind of delicious, right? Isn't it? So good. But now for this one, I did go in with the limoncello first all over, generously as well, I might add. And then I'm going to go in with one of the 1/2 inch blending brushes with the olive to, you know, really, I mean, I'm doing a little bit first here with the big one, and then I'm going to go in with the little tool just to kind of really bring in the ink to just essentially bring the contrast and the details, like add the depth there. And I think it really made such a difference. I mean, you can see the one that's like pointing downwards. That was some with just the big ones. And I really, really think that the little brushes, because you get in like with all the little details, makes a huge difference. So now we're going to add some fun details with the die cut. So you might wonder where those like little triangles are on the panel there. And it will all be explained, and it's very clever. So you use those essentially to line up the die cut so that you get it perfectly in place. So you get the details where you want them. But here I did another like crazy thing. Like I didn't take it off the grippy mat before I mean, I put the die cut on top like I was going to run the whole thing through my die cutting machine. Like I was, you know, I think I'd mislaid my brain that day when I made it. It just like, oh, let's just be a little bit crazy. It did not work out well. There was some detours for sure. But I have something else to share, which is super, super fun. So first off here, I used this stitched basket weave cover plate on a back panels, but I didn't use it like straight up and down. I wanted a little bit of like extra detail, so I just kind of like turned it so there was a little bit of flat bits in there as well, and I thought that just turned out so fun. What do you think? And then I used one of the single stitch rectangles to cut out the middle. And the reason I'm going to do this is because if you are new here, you might not know this, but I really, really struggle with white space. I find it so difficult, like so difficult. So one way of doing that is first adding some interest and texture to the background with that cover plate. But then I'm also going to add some color to that rectangle that I cut out. But first, we're going to put our flowers together. And the reason I'm doing this is so that the glue will cure while I'm dealing with the rest of the background and, you know, all that funness. Now, I did squeeze out a little bit too much glue here, so I'm going to clean that up and then we're going to crack on. Now, I have used the second biggest die in the set to cut out a dark gray rectangle as well. And I was thinking maybe this will do, but no, it just, I think it was the wrong shade of gray. I feel like maybe it was just a little bit too harsh. So this is where I came up with the idea of just adding a little bit of green to this square here. And I've I haven't loosed anything. Maybe loosed my brain. But I've used a little bit of limoncello again to kind of bring in that cohesiveness of the greens from the foliage. So we're going to ink blend quite a lot of limoncello here, and then we're going to bring in a little bit of olive is left on my blending brush from previously. Not a lot, just to kind of like deepen that limoncello a little bit. It's not really enough to sort of, you can tell that, oh, there's definitely limoncello and olive on there, but it's just enough to kind of give that limoncello and the ombre a little bit of that depth that's needed. Now we're going to glue all of this down to a card base, and we're going to be using the liquid glue again. And this is, I think, it's essential almost when you're puzzling pieces together and also to a card base. I find it much easier to use a liquid glue because it gives you those few extra seconds where you can, you know, move things around if you're like me, a bit of a legend when it comes to putting things on wonky. Yeah, I do that a lot. But when you have liquid glue, it gives you those extra few precious seconds to kind of like, oh, square it up and make sure that it's, you know, corner to corner and perfectly straight. So definitely top tip, using liquid glue if you're adding bits and pieces like this. And then we're going to do another top tip, which is to use some present seal to pick up our flowers that we have already like beautifully arranged on our card front. And then we're going to keep those on the present seal to make sure that they definitely go exactly where they're supposed to go. But you see here what I mean? Like that went on so easy. Whereas when I use double-sided tape, I'm always a little bit nervous it's going to go on like wonky. So I actually tend to use a little bit of liquid glue on top of double-sided tape, which seems crazy, right? I mean, use one or the other. But yeah, that's the only way that I know for sure I'm going to get things on straight when I use double-sided tape. I need to have a little bit of liquid glue on top. It just makes sense. So we're going to arrange our flowers here, and then we're going to cut off those little bits there at the bottom, because I don't know why I did this, but I just kind of felt like, it kind of frames it nicer, I think. And then we're going to use some sentiments from the Smiles and Sunshines stamp set. And I decided to heat emboss these in gold for a little bit of shimmer. But I couldn't quite decide which one to use. So what's a girl to do but stamp up quite a few. I know, it's crazy. I should have just picked one and done that one. But I just figured, you know what, I got all my stuff out to like heat emboss, you know, because you got to prep your cardstock and you got to, you know, stamp it with the embossing ink, and then you got to sprinkle your embossing powder on top, and then you got to heat set it. I was like, oh, it kind of makes sense to do another one or two while I'm at it. So I decided to do a few news. But now at least I will have a few ready to go sentiments for my next card making session. So, you know, there is sometimes there is a little bit of logic behind the craziness. Yes. But I did squeeze in 5 sentiments on this piece of cardstock, and I probably, if I'd been a little bit smarter with the placements, I probably could have made room for more. But I thought, nah, let's just do the 5. Let's not go completely crazy. See? I can bring myself in. And you doubted me, didn't you? You doubted me. Yes, I know you did. And I don't blame you. I'm not exactly known for reining myself in, am I? But anyway, we're going to use rich gold embossing powder for these. And I'm going to take this off camera to heat emboss because it just gets so noisy. And I always have to cut out the noise anyway. So this is what they look like when they have been set. And they are all like upside down and this way and that way. So it doesn't matter. As long as you get your sentiments on and with enough room so that you can use your coordinating die cuts to cut them out, it's all good. It's all good. Now, if you're a little bit nervous about doing all of these in one go, you can either use a little bit of washi tape to hold them in place, or just do one or two at a time, because it does tend to slip a lot easier if you're adding quite a few die cuts at the same time. So I'm going to take my top plate and place it very, very carefully on top of these, press down so that nobody's escaping where they shouldn't be going. And then we're going to pop these out, and then we're gonna pick one. And funnily enough, I actually ended up picking the first one I popped out was the one that ended up on the card. I did cut out another few pieces to prop it up, and you know, it looks nice, doesn't it? I did cut out 3 pieces, but I ended up just using 2 because I mean at this point it's not a flat card. It's not a one-legged card, but you know, we're keeping it relatively flat, which again is not exactly my strong suit. So pretty proud of this. And I didn't add any bling. What is wrong with me? I swear it's Erica. I am not held hostage. This is not a silent cry for help. But I really do hope you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and let me know what is a must-have from this release. And I will see you soon again. Bye for now.